bless upon yourself, thanks for passing through again in the Nicardo Media House there again in the morning. Instead of salute to the people, choose a morning. Yeah, remember people, please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Really appreciate it. You understand? But look, they have to talk about Ethan Pinnock and also Renaldo Cephas. You understand? I'm going to just give some my opinion on what is going on with Ethan Pinnock and why the reggaeboyz fans don't worry about the last 5 games that Ethan Pinnock been sitting on the bench for the last 5 games. Look, Renaldo Cephas, the sentiment that been shared around Renaldo Cephas' name. The end product is finishing. His goal contribution it need to be a lot more than what he's doing, but I think he's getting better as the season goes by. This is his second season in a very, very top league in Europe, the Turkish league. I think the Turkish Super League is a very good league. Even the second tier, they have VAR. So it's a league that have a lot of standard, isn't it? It's a high quality league. Same way, it's just similar. So not as very difficult as the championship, but it's very difficult to get out of. It's not a easy league to get out of, but that's where this video is going. Renaldo Cephas and Ethan Pinnock. Look, it's been a rough couple of months, after the international break, after coming back from, injury, right after, just before the international break, get called up, played in the St. Vincent game, played in the Newcastle game right after, coming back the post game after the international break, played in that game. He came off, and during the time when he came off, in that game versus Newcastle, it was because he had a little discomfort in his ankle. The same injury that kept him out for such a long time. I think he was feeling a little bit discomfort. That was what I got from the time when he got substituted. I think it was a Newcastle game. Ethan Pinnock, boom, after he missing the next 5 games, sitting on the bench. What I'm understanding that they're protecting Ethan Pinnock. As I said, why he got subbed off, he was feeling a little bit discomfort, and it's not something that it's very serious, but it's something that they are protecting the player. He's a big asset, but again, when a player been frozen out of the starting level, for the last 5 games, it's a worrying sign of what is going on. People going to be looking at like what is really going on, with Ethan Pinnock. Who, look, whenever that backline are named by Thomas Frank, usually he's one of the first name as a center have to be on that sheet for the starting level for any game, but missing for the last 5 games. But I'm going to say this, reggaeboyz fans, I don't think it's an alarm bell that's ringing off right now of Ethan Pinnock. People, I heard this sentiment being shared in the reggaeboyz space, about nobody's been talking about Ethan Pinnock of missing games, but I think Ethan Pinnock have a lot of credit in the bank where he can go, not playing even for the rest of the season and still get called up for the national team. He is our best defender. He is our best center half. Ethan Pinnock is in the column of defenders who have scored the most goals since Brentford been playing in the Premier League for the last 4 or 5 seasons. I think the last 4 seasons they've been in the Premier League. He is in that pool, category of players that have scored the most goal as a defender, as a centre half in the Premier League. So that you would say the last 4 seasons is in the column, with some of the top defenders. So, and if you look at different, stats of, tackles won, aerial duels, he's right up there amongst the biggest peers of defenders in the Premier League. Even one of, I think it was a championship final, on their way to qualify for and get promotion, to the Premier League, he had like 8 aerial duels that he won. And the next player that won the most aerial duels in that game behind Pinnock, he won 3 aerial duels in that game. So this is a player that dominate the areas that he is stronger in. So he's a quality player. Look, I think when you look at it, you know, we should be a little bit lucky that we get a player like Ethan Pinnock. Yes, he's a late bloomer, but he saw the opportunity. He wants to represent Jamaica. You have to give him that because he's a quality player. We don't get these type of players, you know, different cycles when players, you know, making a transition to play for the reggae boy. We don't really get these high level of player. And you will say, look at it, when he made his debut, you know, look, he's like a Jamie Vardy. He had about 113 Premier League games after making his debut at the same time. I think when Jamie Vardy, you know, Jamie Vardy make his debut around 26-27 in the Premier League for Leicester City. Ethan Pinnock is right around the same age, make his debut 4 seasons ago. He's what, 31, 32. It's the same age group at 113 Premier League games so far. You want to know how much of those games Ethan Pinnock started that he have played in? 111. That's 98% of the games that he have played. He start 98% times in those games. Look, since 2021 when Brentford just, you know, get promotion to the Premier League until now, the club went on to, you know, to have they have like what they played 149 games in the Premier League. You want to know how much games in that Ethan Pinnock start? It's 111. That's like 72%. So he's been that, you know, that stakeholder in that backline for Brentford. So Ethan Pinnock have a lot of credit in the bank, even if he goes on to not even to start another game in the first month in August, the first month in the new season of the Premier League 2025-2026. There is no issue for him not to start in the reggae boy team because he is our best centre half. He is playing at the highest level. You know, his numbers are amongst the best defenders in the league since 2021 until now. So is a stakeholder in this Brentford team. But if you ask me, yes, it's a concern. You know, I'm not going to tell a fan that, you know, you're not supposed to have a little bit of concern, but that not supposed to stop Ethan Pinnock from match up to anybody. How this player, if I did that, the player not getting a game, would I say me? No, Ethan Pinnock is our best player. He might have too much credit in the bank for him to miss the last 5 games because of, you know, a little bit of discomfort, as I said, in that Newcastle game where I think it was that Newcastle game where he came off in like the 83rd minute or something like that. Too much credit in the bank to be not to be amongst the selection of players that need to start in competitive games going forward for the reggae boy team. So, you know, if you look at it, World Cup qualifier, Gold Cup, the second phase of World Cup qualifier, he should be in the team. It doesn't matter if he doesn't start another game from now and goes on not to start in the first month of the new season in August and goes on to start to play in September. Too much credit in the bank for him not to get any game. But so let me just get this out of the way. You know, I forgot to add this, so let me just add this into it as well. In the 113 games that Ethan Pinnock been playing in the Premier League, in his career since 2021, never get sent off, never ever get sent off. You know, he had only errors lead to goal 6, 6 since his time in the Premier League. Only 6 goals that, 6 errors that lead to goal, and half of those goals came this season. I know this season is not the best of Ethan Pinnock, but half of those errors came in this season alone, and he is, I think, 3rd on the list for the defender that have the most errors that lead to a goal this season. So I mean, hopefully next season he will return back to his best. It will be a World Cup year. It will be a crucial phase for the reggae boys. So that's the one thing that I had to forgot to drop in the Ethan Pinnock one as well. So we'll move on from the video. Renaldo Cephas, this is what I want to say. Look, I know Ronaldo. See, if you look at his game, he's getting better. And how he played last season in the Super League, that was his first step into mainland. I would say Turkish league is like a top league. It's a very good league, you know. It's full of passion, it's full of quality. You know, look at the quality coaches, look at the quality players, you know, pass through that league. And even if you look at the there's a few stuff now, you know, on the screen. Devia Argil, a former reggaeboyz player, you know, who visit the facility, the training ground of Ankara Gucu, you know, before they play the game on the weekend, give them a little bit of cheering up, you know, let the fans know, hey, come out and support, you know, Ankara Gucu. I didn't even know that Devia Argil was a player for this football club. This coach, you know, Mustafa Kaplan, that coach in Renaldo Cephas, he's the one that who brought, you know, Devia Argil at the club, you know, so he came back, you know, supporting the boys. He was in the stadium, he was watching the game, he was rooting for Renaldo Cephas, he met with him at the training ground as well, you know. So Cephas, you know, been improving. If you look at his game, if you look at his highlights, you know, I think I only watched 2 games live with Renaldo Cephas this season in the second tier of Turkish football. The rest of the clips is all about, you know, the highlights of the game. But if you look at his highlight package compared to what happened in the Super League, it's getting better, because last in the Super League, first year of Turkish football, he played 31 games. You know, he started in 20 of those games. And also, if you look at the games that he played this season, 26 games, just 13 starts. You know, he scored 4 goals, you know, from the bench. He scored 4 goals, you know, from the get-go when he's starting. You know, so it's been even. But if you look at when he scored goals, he's not getting or taking a lot of shots towards goals. So he will took like 1 shot, bang, 1 goal, you know, 2 shot, 1 goal, you know. So when he's getting less opportunity off the bench, you know, he's getting less opportunity. So he came off the bench, you know, a lot frequently more than how he would have want to start in games, you know. Especially he had 8 goals in the league alone. Look at the different challenges that the club been going through, you know, the different phases that the club is going through, you know, the hardship that the club is going through, you know, the change of managers, the change of staff, the technical director, you know, different fresh air been breathing through this football club, you know, different tactics, different layout plans, and he's managed to get on 12 or 13 goals after the season, you know, 8 in the league. You know, look, you know, Renaldo Cephas scored, you know, his first couple of goals that, you know, he scored in the league, you know, at the start of this season. His first 3 goals came when he coming off the bench, and his first goal, he came on in a game in the 27th minute because of some injury, and, you know, the coaches just want to make some different movements in that first half. He came on in the 27th minute, he had 1 shot on target, he scored the second goal of the campaign, came off the bench, came on in the 66th minute, he had 3 shots on target, 1 goal, and he also won a penalty over the weekend. That's his 3rd game of the season in the league where, you know, he won a penalty for the team as well. So he's contributing not just with assists, not just with goal, but also, you know, with fouls, with end product, that he's getting better. Renaldo Cephas is a risk taker, and his 3rd goal, he came on in a game in the 46th minute, 2 shots on target, 1 goal. So you could see that, you know, his finishing is getting a lot better. You know, he's a little bit more ruthless, you know, in front of the goal, and he's a direct player. He have such his speed. He's such a quick player where a lot of times, you know, he's going to be derailed off his course a little bit, but it's getting better. You know, it's not the Cephas that we saw, you know, a few seasons about where he couldn't control himself. He's trying to control that momentum, you know, when he's dribbling with the football, you know. So I just think it's just hard done by a lot of fans, you know, criticize about, you know, he's not getting better, you know, his end product still need to get better. Yes, he needs to get better, but the better manager he go on to play under, the better team he's going to play under or play for, he will get better gradually as his career progress. You know, is going in his latter days of his age. You know, he's 20, Cephas is 25, 26, somewhere right there. As soon as he getting older, he will get a lot better. Hopefully from here, he will get into a better football club. You know, so Cephas been getting goals, you know, he's scoring goals. He's in games where he just had 1 shot or 2 shot on target. So it's not the same sentiment about his game is not improving. You know, and look, last season in the Super League, Cephas missed 4 big opportunities when he scored 3. he created 4 big opportunities, for his team in the Super League this season. Now in the second tier, Cephas started 13 games. He created 8 big chances for his team, and he have missed 6 big opportunities when he scored 8. So it's sad to say that, look, he started way less game than last season. I know he played a lot of game this season, but the team played a lot of game, not him played a lot of game. The team played a lot of game, but he's been in and out 26 games so far, just 13 started. So with 8 big chances created for his teammate, his percentage of his dribble, his successful dribbling rate, goes up a little bit, than last season. I think last season it was 1.3 something. No, it's like 1.4 or 5 the last time I checked. So it's hard done by to say he's not getting that end product, but you have to be patient with him. You remember, this player is not the player that you will say be gifted with talent, he gifted with a speed, but when you're talking about the attributes of trying to control his motion, try to control, his speed on the track, it's something that he will learn, during different phases in his career. But people, that's all I have to say. Bless upon yourself, thanks for watching. This is Nicardo Media House, salute to the people. I'm out. Ciao, ciao.